I see.
So,
Then I believe I know what must be done. I don't know where Spencer is, but I do hope you'd find him. And tell Spencer he has no choice in the matter. But I've made my decisions.
Do you want me? Where would Spencer hang out? Does he have like a home?
he has a room in an inn. Yeah.
Oh, all right. I will go and check on him. There is he in the inn?
So
Well, it depends on how long he has to be out and about before he finds what he's looking for. So, I guess that's up to Lessons.
yeah, you probably already have like a stack of books that you borrow through your connections with the university and are studying it, and
Right.
so your desk is like 4 or 5 books like high, and you have the travelogue, and you have notes and whatever else you need. So you're deep into that right now, into the study of binding it.
All right, so he's probably a bedhead, resting bitch face mess when he opens the door.
Hello, Spencer.
Aren't you cheerful this morning?
Cheerful is not what I would describe this right now. I actually just came to check on you. Also to relay a message from Lord Gregory. And you can double check with him and talk about this. We apparently going to be under investigation tomorrow, and I'm probably saying this completely wrong, but please understand I'm a little flustered by it. The Church of Salmare has sent agents based on some sort of letter we sent them, and they want to know what the heck's going on, so they're going to ask us questions tomorrow morning at the cathedral.
I see.
And they're probably going to use your magical stuff that you do to ask some of those questions.
I see. Well, best be on your guard when it happens, and if you have anything to hide.
Yeah, it's I'm screwed, but that's besides the point. I just wanted to let you know what was going on. If you wanted to talk to it more, Sir Gregory or Lord Gregory is kind of insisting that we all may be there in the morning.
Yes, and I shall attend.
What you reading anyway?
Books on art, science, magic mostly. I'm looking for particular kinds of entities. We'll put it that way.
That sounds very ominous. I hope it's not something that will bite you in the butt.
It might bite someone else in the butt, but not me.
Our enemies, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Oh, good. Quick question. Any tips on how to block people from reading your mind?
If you're a good liar, you can block a person's attempt to read your mind.
Oh, I'm screwed. All right, thank you.
Well, how strong is your mind itself? Are you educated, well-read?
I know how to read, let's put it that way, but I'm not good at it just yet.
Well, the smarter you are and the more forceful your will, the less likely they are to penetrate your natural defenses.
Well, I guess we'll find out. I'm honestly kind of against this. You can imagine how Harmon is taking this right now.
Oh, yes. He doesn't like me. I'm sure he wouldn't like someone else doing it.
I'm pretty sure he doesn't like me either. Last week he was chastising my wife the entire time for a half hour.
That was out of character.
Oh, okay. I'm sure he doesn't like me that much either.
It's canon now, I think. Harmon has really strong opinions.
Yeah, that's me. I'm talking about me. I'm fucking your wife. No, that was out of character.
I know. Let's retcon that real quick. I mean,
Okay.
I get the feeling Harmon doesn't really think highly of anybody except Sir Gregory.
Well, I can only try to impress him. I doubt I would, though. He doesn't seem all that enthusiastic about magic, especially the kind I do.
Why bother impress him? Just make sure that he's not swinging his sword at you.
I want him too impressed to swing his sword at me. I want him to be able to think twice before he does something like that.
Well, we can only hope that he will think about that type of stuff as this entire war goes further. Anyway, just wanted to relay the message. Good luck with the reading. Good luck with finding the magic things you need, and I'll see you in the morning, I guess.
Yes, good luck with your own reading.
Yeah, thank you. I gotta probably get better books to read, I think.
I could possibly help you with that later on.
We'll talk about it. For now, though, I gotta probably get ready for this thing tomorrow.
Yes,
I appreciate the help, though.
I wish I could help you more.
Hey, no, that's fine. The tips you gave are enough for me to be prepared, at least. Like, it's weird enough that people can already root in your head and find out things.
And then in thought speech, is this weird?
Yes. How'd you do that?
It takes study and practice.
Yeah. All right, see ya. I'm out of here. Now I'm creeped out.
Take care, sir. Or Miss Air. I'm sorry. Got that wrong.
I'm neither of those things. I'm just some commoner schmuck.
Okay then. Unless anybody has any plans before
I did.
next morning. Okay,
Yeah.
fine.
I believe we're going to see the Lady Chamberlain, and I'm taking Harmon with me. And on the way, of course, I'll talk to Harmon and go, so not at all, of course.
Well, if you're not going to talk to me at all, then I guess it's a short conversation.
No, that was my question. Harmon, you are full of sass whenever I do this to you. It's either silence or sass, and that's all I get. And I can't improve anymore. But yes, I believe you don't want to for the obvious reason.
No, not
Your
at
faith.
all. Sure. No, sir.
So then is there another reason, or was that the reason?
Correct.
Harmon.
For somebody who can't read or write, he does mathematician's answers very well.
Indeed. Well, you know my feelings about it. And I do not want to put you into such a position, especially not one perhaps as vulnerable as being questioned by the church.
Sir, if I may,
Yes.
you do not answer to them. You do not have to capitulate to their desires. This is an internal matter for our country. We do not need outside military influence or anybody reading the mind of our leaders.
It's true. I don't have to do any of this. I could always choose a slightly harder road. But I feel that Duncan and Vesper make good points. The people are suffering. And if we don't find any sort of ally to help alleviate that suffering, well, it'd be on my hands then, wouldn't it?
The people suffer as they always have. We live and die for our islands, not for other people to come and die for our islands.
But just to starve to death for it?
If that is the way of... If that is the will of the nature, then so be it. That's the way it's always been. It's the way it should always be.
I understand your feelings, Harmon. Well, we're here at the Lady Chamberlain for now. Let's speak with her.
Have fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I believe
As
it's been
always.
mentioned she is already aware of the situation.
Yes.
I'll go, Lady Chamberlain.
Hello.
Having a good morning.
Well, I just been informed that we are visited by well, minus Duncan. That we are being visited by some high members of the Church of Sumer, with the ears of His Holiness.
Indeed so. It's It's a bit daunting of a proposition, really, and they are most interested in me, it seems. I can only hope I don't disappoint. I always try to look my best.
Under normal circumstances, I would say they can go, pardon my Calambrian, go fuck themselves. However, we are not under normal circumstances. It also informed me that it was Brother Vesper who sent the missive to talk to them. Is that correct?
Indeed so.
And that it was approved by you?
That is correct.
So as a magistrate and as a lord of this land, you gave your imprimatur to a message directly to the head of the Sumer Church.
That would be the case, ma'am.
Yes. Well, that basically bounds this office through your actions. I understand why you did it. And then there had I been told about it beforehand, I might even have agreed. Emphasis on might. Now we're here.
Indeed. I
So
do apologize.
Your orders are very clear. You and your men are to be put to this question. However, I will leave to your indulgence any information that you believe to be harmful to our interest.
Of course.
To hold as much as possible.
I will attempt to restrain myself. They do have a cognoscenti, much like Spencer, but I've dealt with it before.
This paladin, lady paladin, knight, basically, I don't know the difference between one or the other, don't care, assured me that any report that she is going to send will be forwarded to us first, so that we might, shall we say, have a look over. Of course, that does not prevent her anyone to literally walking up to His Holiness and telling her exactly what she feels.
Very true.
So
which is why giving the least possible would be best.
So I see this more of a diplomatic technique to assure us that they are not here to harm our interest. I do not require this kind of interference at this moment. What I do require is, well, what's your opinion of this?
I think the Lady Paladin is very sincere. I think she is, in fact, an honorable sort, and it would be strange indeed if she was not at such point. She is serious beyond a fault, more than you even. At least you give me some slack. I believe she intends to follow through with as she says. She does not mean ill intent, but that does not mean that she would not perhaps accidentally say more than she needs to, or be persuaded to. I also don't necessarily know about her retinue either, but if they're under her control and as dedicated as she is, I think they are, to some extent, trustworthy. But there is something that weighs a little bit on my mind, given the procedure. And I know I have no place to ask this, having gone over your head while I was out on mission and agreed to such things, and performed such actions, of which, of course, I will accept all consequences. There's just one request I would perhaps make. Could you perhaps find an assignment for Harmon and Duncan for a week or two?
You want me to have them be somewhere else while the question is put to you?
They have skills that are very relevant. And I believe you could perhaps see why I'm asking.
I can see that, but the problem is that they insisted, and in fact, they already had your name. He basically takes a roll of paper and puts it in front of you. They seem to be better informed than one would think from newly arrived messenger. And basically, there's a list. In fact, there's several papers with your names, descriptions of you, and even rough sketches of your faces, all of you. In fact, you even when you're leafing through them, you find one of Dax.
Oh, well then.
So they knew exactly who they were
Yes.
looking for. Better prepared, which is to be expected if they are to put you to the question. I could delay them, but I don't think, unless I want to add a diplomatic incident to the retinue of problems that we are facing right now, a minor one, but still an irksome one nonetheless, that I could delay them, but I could not deny them. My suggestion to you is I will buy you some time. I will give Duncan and your bodyguard another assignment. They are members of the King's Chosen after all. It may take a week or so. But after that, I think they will seek them out in their own terms.
I understand. I'll do the best that I can with what you give me.
If you give them enough information, whatever they're looking for, that might be just enough to satisfy them.
Indeed. Well, we shall see. It shall be myself, Spencer, and I wonder, are they going to actually question Vesper? He's part of the church already. I suppose they will. But yes, I think that shall do.
I'll start writing
Thank you.
the orders right away. You may tell Harmon that, of course, that also means that
Harmon's right here, so you can tell.
Yeah. And he basically looks at you. It's like, that means that you want to be at your side of your lord for a week or so. Are you comfortable with that?
No.
I see. Well, I'll write
It is
the
my
orders.
order, Harmon.
And the King's own. On my pension.
I live to serve.
If there's anything else, Lord Gregory?
That should be all for now, I think. But thank you again.
You're welcome. Now, I am very busy, so please excuse me.
All right, I'll leave you to your work once more.
Yeah.
Enjoy the pile of paperwork I sent.
You get almost
See all
like
my
there's
warrants that I signed on the table now.
you feel like there's a black hole behind you that if you turn back, it will just rip you to shreds right now. Because she's not very happy.
Escape,
You know.
swim out of the gravity well.
Yeah, you're like, you got to get out of there before she actually,
You can
she's
feel
not a
the
happy
dagger
woman.
in my back already.
Yeah. So, orders are given for Duncan and Carmen to do something else, and I'll come up with it as soon as possible. But you're to be seen in the morning, the rest of the party.
I see. Alrighty.
Duncan, actually, you guys can, in essence, as long as you can, formulated within the things that the King's Guard do, such as, I don't know, guard duty. You could say, oh yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do guard duty somewhere in the city, whatever, because it's my turn, and go off and do that. Or something else, right?
Well,
so
I would assume with my skill sets, I probably would be out like for the king, maybe foraging as his official part of his official retinue for hunting or something of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, because we're not allowed to poach technically on his lands or anything like that. But as an agent of the king, I do get one of the people that does get privilege to poach and get food for the king for his banquet hall or something like that. So they just tap me to go with a team or something in the woods just to hunt for a few days.
Here's what's going to happen. You and Harmon are going to be sent to collect fees from the King's Rangers.
That's even better. Tax collecting.
Because the Rangers are essentially the people who are the keepers of the King's Forest. Mm-hmm. Now, in the past, people were completely exempt from doing any hunting on the King's lands, on pain of either death, exile, or loss of a finger or another dismemberment. Right? Usually for nobles, it was exile. For peasants, it's dismemberment of some sort, or even death.
Yeah.
And peasants were allowed to cut wood in order to have to do it for the winter, but there were limits to it and that sort of thing. Now the system has been changed so that yes, people can hunt limited amounts of game at certain times, kind of like hunting season basically, to feed their families, that sort of thing, as a way to alleviate the problems with food shortages. Of course, that usually only works with omnivores and carnivores. The few herbivores that are in the islands, well, they're SOL when it comes to that. But it helps.
Yeah.
It has helped somewhat, right? And so what basically the rangers do, they are the wardens of the forest laws, basically the keepers of the forest laws, which means any area that is under direct control of the king is considered to be a forest, regardless of whether there's trees or not. And they collect taxes therein. Not taxes, but fees, which are a form of taxation, right? Okay, you can hunt X amount of, game, but for every lizard that you kill of a certain size, you have to you can cut certain trees, but, that sort of thing. And so you two are sent out basically to go out and get the fees, right?
Alrighty.
Yeah. So you're going to be doing that while the rest of the party is going to be questioned. So if anybody else is going to do anything of particular note before next it comes, please let me know.
If we've got the time, and like you said, Spencer's maybe dialed down where he needs to go, I've put a list of what I'm looking for. So I'm thinking maybe like a barracks or somewhere where a Noble's champion would hang out. I don't know. But like bodyguards, champions, so maybe a mercenary company can go in there, surreptitiously nab a shade, and then leave before anybody asks him why he's there.
Well, you are essentially, you have access to the King's Chosen barracks, right? I mean,
what better have a actual loyal shade?
Yeah. So if that's what you're looking for, you might have to do it like go around the back or something, and between the change of shifts between the daytime and the nighttime, something like that, perhaps.
Well, if it's from the King's Guard barracks, and he's not going to be secret about it, but this is something I did want to ask Rafferty. In the gift bind shade, it says a prerequisite is actually having to bind the shade. Now, I don't need the 10 XP to buy the gift in reserve to bind the shade. I need the 10 XP to buy the gift if I want to use the shade, right?
Well, yeah, we're trying to make it clear that you don't just buy it and then the shade appears instantly.
Yes.
The ability you in old school Ironclaw, in order to get creatures, you had to find them first. So yeah, that's supposed to be a note to the players that just because you buy this doesn't mean it suddenly appears.
I figured that's what that was, but I think the question is, from maybe Ractus. I could be wrong about his motive behind this, but he thinks I would need the 10 XP in reserve before I decided to bind the shade.
I mean, that would be the most expedient, but I'm not the game master, so you can ask them how they want to do it. They want you to hold on to the 10 points until you actually find one. Ironclaw was kind of like what sometimes people call a low magic game. We didn't want players using the rulebook to bully the game master, to say, hey, I went and spent 10 XP. Now I have a powerful elemental that follows me around. We wanted that to be not ambiguous in the book. And that, unfortunately, can be flipped the other way, which is, we're not sure how to get this. In other words, like what I'm explaining to you right now is, you could buy it in advance, but we all understand this doesn't give you a free shade.
Oh, I know. Well, most of us would be able to buy it and then pay for it when I get the XP eventually. Let's
say that it's going to take you a couple of nights, basically, as you basically do a study of the area and maybe a little bit of history. Maybe you find you're tracking down names of famous champions, right? That might be associated with the King's Guard or King's Chosen. And then you go there and you sort of investigate and use both your normal eyesight as well as your senses to sort of see the magical energies and the like. And then you find a situation where this situation has enough of a magical psychic aura that allows you to pull a shade in that will manifest itself. So say about 3 nights to do so. The first night you're already doing you do the research, which you're already done to find out how to do it. So the first night will be research a specific shade, right? Second night would be to investigate the area, and the third night would be to do the actual ritual.
Okay, so I know we don't have that much time at the moment because we're waiting on getting called to go to the church in the morning. So I guess that'll just mean he gets to be part of that process before we have to go and do this.
Yeah, you already started the process. But let's say that when you were reading books, you're already doing the research and you're already tracking down that name.
Well, then I'll leave it. I'll try to remember how many days have passed before I decide to actually get the binding done. But we've got this game important RP to go through, so let's do that.
Okay. So you show up in the morning. The three individuals that are waiting, the retinue, the lady knight and the retinue are there. And she steps forward and says, Lord Griffin, where is the rest of your followers?
They have been given assignments as of recently, and will return when their assignments are over. Such are the trials and tribulations of duty. Of that, though, I can assure that they shall return as soon as they possibly can. They have received the missives, and they know.
Inconvenient. However, we can begin the process forthwith. I'll leave it to you who answers the question first. The rest will have to wait outside until we finish with them. It will take probably a day for each one of you to be questioned.
I see.
Not worry, we have provided refreshments and the like, so you will not.
Oh, wonderful! Refreshments. I hope there's some good cheese. So which one of us should go first? Because it's between me, Vesper, and Spencer.
Oh, Spencer, you're there. You don't even have to roll for this. You see the cognoscenti, the female cognoscenti, and you recognize her immediately. Even though you've never seen her before specifically, but it's like a one-to-one image to the cognoscenti that you know is behind all of this. Except that the cognoscenti that you know is male and has a slight scar in his jawline, his snout. But the coloration, the age, the color of the eyes, the gray of the eyes, they're twins. They're one is male, one is female. That's it. They're from the same litter. There's no denying it.
Well, in that case, Spencer's going to look over to Gregory and tell him in mind speech. I don't think this can be intercepted by another cognoscenti, so he's not too worried about that. But this looks just like the person I've envisioned as being responsible for all this, except she's female, he's male, and she's missing a scar. It could be a very good disguise, or they could be related.
Gregory's gonna raise like a little bit of an eyebrow and think in his head for a little bit. He's thinking isn't his strong suit, of course. So he's giving that appearance as he's mulling over this question of who goes first. He goes, Spencer, why don't you go first?
Very well.
Okay. You're led into this dimly lit room, and the first thing that hits you is the smell of incense. It's overpowering. Basically, you're led down the hall into a room deeper into the cathedral. Relatively small room. There's a table. There's a candle.
I'm sorry, not to interrupt, but you've said this before. Rafty's also said this. Spencer is stoned out of his fucking mind this morning.
This is the next morning, by the way. So you went and did it again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess they'll have to roll against confused.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, confused just means you're reeling all the time.
Right. So Although it's going to make this harder, I'm going to try to thought read the cognoscenti while they're doing it to me.
Okay.
Have a little brain fight here.
So you're gonna resist. Okay, that's interesting. So you sit down, and again, the smell of incense sort of coils into your own mind as it is whatever it is that substance that you're under the influence. They sort of complement each other, right? It's like you sort of fall into this vibe. It's like very tranquil, very chill. You see the priest with the frog start doing this chant, like a spiritual chant, doing a prayer. And you're given a chair, not a tiny chair, it's a rather comfortable chair. And it says, and the lady paladin, Sass, says, before we get into the more invasive procedure, I'd just like to ask you some questions first. Would you, and there's a cleric there as well, which seems to be a member of the church here. Would you state, for the record, your full name and occupation?
Yes, I am Spencer McDougall, cognoscenti, and King's Guard.
I see. And what is your role under the mandate of the magistrate that you serve?
I am an investigator.
I see. Now, in your recent experiences, say last year or so, have you experienced encounters with the mystical, supernatural, or dare I say, the necromantic?
I've run into some bound fire elementals that were used in a suicide attack on our harbors. And I'm trying to remember if we met with any undead recently. I think we had. But Spencer would tell the truth about these sorts of things. He has no reason to lie.
In your own experience with these mystical efforts, are these interconnected or are separate incidents?
I have yet to piece that together myself. I think they may be interconnected because through who's ever hired the people who are doing these things.
I see. Well, and she turns she turns to the cognoscenti. He's like, I will continue to ask you questions, of course. Prepare yourself. This is, as you well know, this is a situation when it gets a bit intrusive.
Yes.
Are you going to fight her, resist her?
She wouldn't feel like she was doing her job if I didn't.
Okay. So, let's read for the audience. Thought reading. Despite magic, journeyman, psychic, telepathic, and thought. Those are the requires green and purple apprentice. Stunt. Read out a group of minds. This is done for a group, but she's going to do it one by one. Your attack dice are your mind and inquiry versus a group mind deceit and
before you
presence.
say she's going to do this one by one, this is a once per day spell.
Yes. That's why
so we're coming back the next day, as they've said.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Spell, but it also only affects one person per day, so they could sit.
The game reason for that is that when players want to read someone's mind, you hit a crowd with it, and whoever is the lowest roller is the person whose thoughts you get. So on the one hand, that's supposed to make up for the inefficiency of the spell, but on the other hand, it also means you wind up reading the weakest mind in the group.
So it's going to be...
There are ways to do multiple people, because there are the mnemonic spells that allow you to recharge your spells. So there are ways they could do more than one person a day. But we don't know what level this person is.
So she's attacking with mind and inquiry, plus she's also used her career for this. She actually has a bonus. So this is what she's rolling.
And what do I roll versus that?
You roll your mind, deceit, and presence. And she has one success, and that success is 9.
And I'm going to add that confused die to this.
Okay.
Okay, I think she beat me. I don't think this is versus successes, but I'm going to turn around and see what I can plumb from the depths of her mind.
Okay.
All right, going to use personality, yes.
Mhm.
And, learning how to read another cognoscenti's mind is one of the, hallmarks of good training.
Mhm.
So I definitely think that, you know, Spencer's master in the cognoscenti arts would have taught him this, along with many other useful little tidbits and secrets that some may learn, others aren't worthy of. So here we go. Damn it.
No, you hit a wall. She is very good at her job.
Nope, not worthy.
She looks at the Lady Knight and sort of nods. And she says, and she continues asking you questions about the events of the last 6 months, right? She particularly presses you on the idea of anything supernatural. She circles back into the attack on the port and the elementals and stuff like that. But at no moment she actually gives you anything that you can grab onto, right? She just gives you straight up questions. If you try to put a question to her, she just sort of blanks you out. It's like, oh, I see. The only thing that she says at the end is like, oh, so clearly there is a supernatural angle to all of this. Very interesting.
Yes.
Finally, have you encountered any misdoings or abuses of power by members of the church?
None that I know from members of the church, but I do want to stress that there's been some cognoscenti involvement. We should definitely be policing our own ranks. And he'll say that while looking directly at what's the boar's name or the wolf's name.
Her name is Laval.
All right, I'll be looking at her while he says this, and if the mind reading is up, he'll even try to put a mental image of the face he has seen into his surface thought so she can definitely read that.
Yeah, when you put that image, she tries her best to hide it, but she kind of snarls a little bit and looks at the paladin. The paladin looks at her. They exchange a look. It's like, that well. We are done for the day. Have your companions come back tomorrow and we'll continue. Also, tell your master that as soon as the other two have finished with their business, I would like to see them. It will be easier this way, and we can be finished that much sooner. Thank you.
But of course.
Have a good day.
You as well. I was glad to help any way I could.
Yeah, I mean, they're done for the day. They're a bit tired. There was a lot of questions. Yeah, they had basically refreshments. They had a cup of water, basically a jug of water, and maybe some minor food, something like that. That keep you conscious, right? That you wouldn't fade for hunger, anything like that. But aside from that, no. And you also recognize that the use of incense, like I said before, there's many techniques of consent in order to more easily break down barriers. Using hallucinogenics or other drugs helps out also can help also block as well as you did. Being blind drunk and stuff like that, because it makes your, it jumbles your thoughts. So it can work either way. Their use of incense helps them. Your use of other drugs help you, and so it kind of block each other out in this sense.
Right.
Yeah. So next morning, again, you're presented. Gregory gets to decide who goes second in this case.
Oh, I hope you tell Spencer beforehand so we can have a little party before this.
Yeah, I imagine though, like in between days, like you come to me and you tell me like a little bit about what you saw and what the reactions were. It's like very interesting.
Oh yeah,
It's
he'll definitely tell Gregory all about what happened and his own little technique for thwarting mind reading.
well, I'll have to pass on that. I have to remain my reputation as a completely upstanding individual who's never indulged at all. And I just chug more wine.
Yes, that should work.
What should work?
I mean, to be fair, I don't think they'll think wine chugging is indulgent.
I don't think they need Spencer back after that, though, right? Or
I mean,
do they still
I
want
do.
him like at the church while? No, okay. So Spencer, you're free to do as you wish, and I'm sure some of our companions out there will love to hear about what you know as well.
Oh yes, I will.
So so we'll return, and it's going to be me and Vesper. And Vesper, do you have any vested interest in going first?
No, I'll defer to you, my
Okay.
lord.
I'll go next.
Again, you're brought into the dimly lit room with a single candle. There's some water, some stale bread. Basically, not the kind of thing that you will call refreshing in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, just like push that a little bit to the sides. Like, isn't there some cheese? I heard cheese.
My Lord Gregory, we'll begin as you are familiar with these insinuations. With your full name and rank, please state it for the record.
Of course. I'm Sir Gregory Varkin III, son of Gregory Varkin II, of the Varkin household. I am a magistrate of the High King.
And how would you describe your duties to the High King?
Why, I carry out his will wherever I need to, enforcing his law upon the land, going where ever his authority is most needed.
Now, I understand that you co-signed the letter sent to His Holiness. Would
That
you
is correct.
Explain the reason why you felt the need to send this letter?
Well, I have had a long talk with Vesper, and Vesper is one of my most trusted advisors, and he and I both agree the suffering of the people is truly paramount in our minds. Everywhere we go and look, people are slowly starving given the situation here, and we desperately are in need of this aid, and the church is that which could provide it, and not only that, provide solace to their stomach, but solace to their souls as well.
How would you categorize Brother Vesper's duties and labors under your command?
He serves mostly as a spiritual advisor, and also he is of a strong mind and knowledge. I've literally put my life into his hands under the knife, where I could perhaps have bled out before he has stood up to save those of us in our duties.
Raccoon healing paws.
I didn't
Can
even
you
mention the
wash your
magical part of that. I
hand
just go like, yeah, he's actually really good with his hands.
You are, in fact, a member of the university, is that correct?
That's correct. I studied there for quite a number of time under such and such professor. You see, truly, it was a very enlightening bit of schooling, and I feel all the better for having done it.
You also are a open practitioner of the elementalist magic, correct?
That is correct.
Have you ever used this magic in self-defense or in defense of others?
Frequently and often.
Have you used this magic in offense to take a life or destroy a being?
I actually have to think about that. Have I actually taken a life yet? I think the salamander counts, actually. So Gregory thinks
Salamanders-
about it for a little bit and goes, and definitely thinks,
Depends on who you ask. Salamanders aren't actually alive. They don't have souls. So say I, your spiritual advisor.
so says the spiritual advisor, but I have to go, wait a
It's okay. Just take them out.
But they move around and they talk. That means that they have souls. I'm pretty sure, right?
No,
like-
just go right ahead. They're aberrations. They're deterministic. They're like clockwork, really.
Yeah, so Gregory like very visibly like hems and haws and maybe whispers like a little bit of that under his breath, like, do salamanders count? And then goes, I have used my magic in such a way, though I do not believe yet I have taken a life with it.
Would you hesitate to take a life using your magic?
No, such is my service to the king, that if it is his demand, then I will.
See. Have you used your magic for personal gain?
Yes. Say yes.
Yeah, the noble like crosses his arms a little bit. Well, of course, I holds to my personal gain. I would not have a position to my personal gain without such abilities.
What do you believe of the doctrines of the Church of Saint-Mer vis-a-vis use of magic?
Gregory will actually stop and think, and I don't think he actually knows that. How about mind academics to see if he actually knows anything at all?
Yeah.
Has Gregory actually read anything about this? He might have.
You know that their magics, healing magic, like white magic, of course, is something that the church promotes. Everything else is suspect, and clearly necromantic magics are
Yeah,
out.
necromancy's right out.
Is right out. You know this also because Brother Vesper has spoken about this. So the church distrusts all magic, that it isn't white magic, and it certainly is staunchly against any necromancy. So your magic is in that gray zone. Okay,
so,
use it, but
So I'll definitely go to statement of fact here and go like, yes, I understand from members of the church that they prefer their white magic. However, to the lay people, there is no common law or law amongst the church specifically banning it. Other practices, such as elementalism, or the cognoscenti arts, even.
You employ a cognoscenti. Have this cognoscenti in any moment of time use his powers to control the minds of others?
Absolutely not. And I would know, for I have foreseen all of his activities.
Has he ever used his powers against the will of someone?
Indeed so, as during our own interrogations, such has become necessary. There have been pirates and thieves in the past of which we had to find information of, and thus they have revealed it to us, in lieu of other measures which could have been more forceful or harmful to the individual.
It is my understanding that you've been carrying a series of investigations, including an investigation on an assassination attempt at an ambassador from Calamberga. Is this correct?
I suppose the word of that has traveled far, hasn't it?
That is not an answer.
Well, it is a yes.
Have you or have you not? Thank you. Could you describe in detail the events that transpired during this assassination attempt? And not to go for every single thing, you can decide which things you are talking about specifically. I want to share.
Right. I have to really think about that because there's a lot of details there that probably shouldn't be known. And I suppose I'm also trying to figure out what details they're interested in. Could I make my own inquiry back at them to kind of see what their mood is about that?
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh.
I mean, it's not enough. I mean, you're.
Yeah.
I mean, if it were any other character, I could give you an inkling, but she's so much. I mean, she reminds you so much of Harmon in that how she is stoic. She's more she verbalizes more than Starman does, but she's very straightforward, stoic, and right to the point. Right, she doesn't give you an inch. Now the kind, your kind of conversations you're used to is that people say something, you're looking for an opening, and you go from there. Now she's the one asking the questions, and it's bam, 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 bam. So
man, I'm
maybe
glad
there
I
was
never have
something
to
there.
read Harmon.
Yeah.
So I will go ahead and leave out quite a lot of the investigation. I'll say the assassin acted alone, however, seemed to have support, and in fact their rifles seem to have been of Calabrian make, and I highly suspect smuggling in their activity. So it was very interesting, the target they chose, which was also in support of Calabria. It's so strange.
So you believe that this was a foreign plot by a faction in Calabria against another faction in Calabria operating here, both of them operating here?
That would seem to be where the information leads, doesn't it?
Do you have access to this firearm, and could we see it?
I believe I can make the arrangement if you wish. No, I don't have it with me today, however. I did not come expecting a gunfight.
Also, by the way, for the viewers, Duncan has it, so.
Yeah, Duncan also has it.
Who's not here? Deliberately wasn't here. What do you know of an individual known as in the Isles as Dax?
Dax. Oh, Dax. I believe he worked with me for some time. Interesting fellow. Innocent soul. Through and through.
So between this and what you talk about, she is going to run. The cognic said he's going to step in. So,
oh boy.
So it's attack, mind, inquiry, plus bonuses. Your defenses are mind, deceit, and presence if you have it. So this is my roll.
How drunk are you?
Only a 9. God damn.
Well, that is still measured in successes versus successes, right?
Correct.
Actually, it's an attack versus, so I think it's highest dice count.
Okay, well, whichever we want to go for. Given that this is a question about Dax and the timing about it, I will actually resist fully.
Okay.
Because this is something I've given props to. I'm double-checking my presence. D8, D12, I have a mind D6, and I don't have deceit. I am a terrible liar, everybody.
Well, how drunk are you?
But it's a tie.
Yeah, so you blank her out. And again, she looks, there's a change of looks. She looks at the paladin. She shakes her head.
Truly, I did give Dax my trust. I believe he was reassigned. I haven't seen him in some time.
Well, final question. In your investigations, have you come across any mythical, magical, or supernatural effects?
Effects?
Such as, for example, a cognoscenti puppeteering or controlling people.
Have I?
Well, remember the rat?
Yeah, I know. I'm just wondering if I want to tell them about that. Because I think that is probably the thing to not say out loud immediately. But at the same time, I'm staring the cognoscenti in the face here. And I will probably actually say, well, there were some salamanders, I believe. And those would definitely have had to have been summoned forth by the forces of the younger king.
Anything else? Necromancy, perhaps?
I'm afraid it doesn't quite ring a bell.
Have you observed or informed anyone about any corruption that you have encountered in the church in the last 6 months to a year?
I don't think I've ever written a report about the church. Though there was this one fellow, over in the Isles, he didn't seem to very much enjoy his job. And you know the one I'm talking about, the one that fell asleep. So I might like hem and haw a little bit about that and just go like, oh yes, he seemed like such a boring fellow. But I hadn't reported on anything.
It happens.
It
People who
does. It
believe
does.
People who believe that walking in the light means that you have a easy path. Nothing could be further from the truth. Well,
Indeed.
Secretary, we thank you for your time. Tomorrow we will question the next of your companions, and I hope that your other companions have returned so that we may also question them as soon as possible.
Indeed, and I thank you as well. When this is all over, we should definitely talk further about the situation of the Isles.
We might.
Okay. And so we'll leave peaceably for the time being.
Meanwhile, in the forest.
Meanwhile,
in the forest, Harmon and Duncan are just talking about random things.
I doubt that.
Well, Duncan is talking a lot, and Harmon is giving him sassy responses in return.
Probably not that either.
Well, Duncan is talking, and Harmon's going to smack him in the head.
Probably not.
Yeah.
I think we just cut out half of that conversation right there. Is Duncan is talking, and
yeah,
that's it.
It's okay. Once Harmon goes bowling, you know.
Yeah, the strip says Duncan is talking. That's it. Yeah.
End of cutscene. Go ahead.
Yeah, but Duncan is actually talking to one of the rangers, who is.
Oh, we actually are doing a scene. Hold on.
So he has a measuring tape, and he's measuring a pile of wood behind a hut of a peasant.
Mm-hmm.
And the peasant sort of he's a shrew, and he's sort of tapping his feet like.
This is the ranger that's measuring it, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah. It's like, Robert, you know, it has to be 2 dinar for this. So he looks, I mean, it's 2. Have you done a third less, my friend? It would have been just 1. And I warned you, but you didn't listen. Fine. He sort of goes in the house and he brings, like, literally has 2 dinars in between his fingers, and it's like, are you done?
Oh,
like, yes.
Dealing with a hard ass on this ranger.
And he turns around, and there's you and there's Duncan and Carmen. It's like, gentlemen.
Sir, hello. We have been sent by the king. We are members of the king's forces. We have been sent to assess the situation and to collect the fees that you have been collecting out in the forest here.
And you hear a laugh behind him, like, ha! Of course, we can reconvene inside. God. So he basically takes over the hut of this guy. It's like, okay, let's sit down and talk.
I look at the guy and I say, "Don't worry, we'll be out in a few moments. I apologize, sir." I give him a toothy smile. And I go inside with the forest ranger, and I guess we conduct our business. Just say, okay, give us all the fees. We'll be on our way.
Documents, yeah. It's like,
nice and boring logistical stuff.
You guys are early. Well, I guess I have to give you whatever. And he takes the pouch, and he sort of like 1, 2, 3. You know, he like a tax collector. He takes a portion of it, and he basically slides like. He gets a pile, and then he slides 2 more dinars, 1 to each one of you. This is your cut, and I think we're done here. And
thank you very much. And I give him a curtsy bow and all that stuff, whatever.
No, what? Cut for what?
And looks at you like, I mean, it's just the way things are done. I mean,
what are you doing? Duncan, are the numbers coming out right?
I do double check the numbers. Do they come out right?
Yeah, I mean, in essence, the 2 dinars are coming from his cut, right?
So he's not trying to
So-
bribe us to overlook something?
It
Yeah,
doesn't
that's a
appear to
different
be.
story.
Yeah, but
I'm not
you-
taking this money. I'm not being associated with whatever is happening here.
it's okay. He takes the dinar and puts it in his little pile, like closes a little bag, and there's the money.
Alrighty. I go through the paperwork. I pointed out to Harmon that this is pretty much in order for what we were able to collect.
The two extra dinars are not in the paperwork, by the way.
Okay. See, that's
Yeah.
different.